are the smallest independent meaningful units in language. But words can be divided into even smaller meaningful pieces, and these smaller meaningful units are called morphemes. Words have an internal structure of one or more morphemes. For example, pigs has an internal structure of two morphemes. Pig, a noun, and z, a morpheme meaning more than one. The word undesirability has an internal structure of four morphemes. Desire, a verb, un, a morpheme meaning not, able, a morpheme meaning able to be, and ity, a morpheme meaning the idea of. The morpheme is the minimal combination of sound and meaning which cannot be further divided. The study of morphemes, the internal structure of words, and the rules by which words are formed is called morphology. Traditionally, this is referred to as word formation. We say that words that consist of just one morpheme are monomorphemic. Words that consist of more than one morpheme are polymorphemic. Now, some morphemes can be words on their own. For example, cat or desire. These are called free morphemes. Some morphemes can't occur by themselves. They can only occur when they're attached to another morpheme. For example, s, un, able, or ity. These are called bound morphemes. So in cats, there are two morphemes. Cat, which is a free morpheme, and s, which is bound. The part of a word that is a free morpheme is in a sense the core of the word to which the bound morphemes attach. Usually it carries the central meaning of the word, and this is called the word root. Sometimes word roots are bound morphemes, but most often they're free. Most bound morphemes are affixes. We call them that because they are affixed or attached to the root of a word. Morphemes can't just be put together in any order. Some affixes have to go before the root and some after it. For example, we say cats, not scat. We also have undesirable, not desirable un. The morpheme un has to go before the root. An affix that has to go before the root is called a prefix. Other affixes have to follow the root, like the s in cats. An affix that has to follow the root is called a suffix. So, in a word like mistrustful, we have two bound morphemes, the prefix mis and the suffix full, surrounding the root trust, so we get mistrustful. Or in a word like friendliness, we have a root followed by two suffixes, li and nes. In any language with affixes, there are also rules about what order the suffixes and prefixes occur in. For example, we can add the suffix li to the root right and get rightly. Or we could add the suffix full and get rightful. We can also add both suffixes and get rightfully, but they have to be in that order. The reverse order is not possible. We can't say rightly full. In some languages, there are a few other types of morphemes. One is the infix. Infixes are placed inside the root rather than before or after it. For example, in Tagalog, there is an infix in that is inserted after the first consonant of a root verb. So we have sulat, meaning write, and sinulat, meaning was written. Another type of morpheme is the circumfix. So a circumfix goes on both sides of the root. One part goes before it and one goes after it. It's a bit like a prefix and a suffix at the same time, but they both have to be attached together. So for example, in German, the past tense is formed using the circumfix g, t. So we have machen, to make, and gemacht, made. Another way that words are formed is compounding. So instead of adding affixes to a root, it joins two separate words to form a new word. So English has the word green and the word house. We also have a compound word, greenhouse, which is one word formed out of these two component words. With compound words, the meanings are not entirely predictable from the roots that make up the compound. So a greenhouse is a house which is green, while a greenhouse, one word, is a special kind of building for growing plants in. The building is not a house in the normal sense, and the building itself is not green. The compound word has quite a different meaning to the original words that make it up. In English, many compounds are written as one word, like greenhouse, while others are written with a hyphen, as in icy cold, or they can even be written as if it was two words, like light year. And these are all still compounds. Compounding is just one way that new words are formed. Here are a few more. So an acronym is formed out of the first letter of each word of a phrase. It's not uncommon to hear someone lol at a good joke, from laugh out loud. Scuba comes from self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, and radar from radio detection and ranging. These are examples of some older acronyms that we don't necessarily recognise as such anymore. A back formation removes a part of the word that resembles a morpheme in order to coin a new word. For example, in the word burglar, English speakers misanalysed the R at the end as a suffix similar to the R in writer. They wanted to create a verb meaning steal, so they removed the R and we ended up with the verb burgle. The International Airport in Milwaukee has a lounge area just beyond security called the recombobulation area, formed by back formation from the word discombobulate, where the dis was mistakenly taken to be a prefix and then replaced with the common prefix re. The recombobulation area is a place where you can get yourself organised, put your shoes back on, put your laptop back into your bag, and so forth. A blend combines two words to create a new word. So smog is a blend of smoke plus fog. A mockumentary combines mock and documentary. Jeggings are snug-fitting leggings that look like jeans. Clipping is the reduction of a word into one of its component parts. So the recently coined word app, meaning application for a mobile device, was clipped from application. Examples such as these illustrate the creative capacity of language. It is our knowledge of morphology, the rules of how we can combine the smallest meaningful units in language, that allows us to combine the pieces of old words to create something new. Different morphemes have different functions. They do different things. So look at these English words: walk, walked, and walker. When the morpheme ed is added to walk, it creates a different form of the same word. But when the morpheme er is added to walk, it creates a whole new word with a new meaning. This is because the morphemes ed and er are different kinds of suffixes. We say that ed is an inflectional suffix, while er is a derivational suffix. So we'll explain derivation and inflection in a moment. Derivation changes the meaning of words. Derivational morphemes create a new word with a new meaning. So in the examples here, the derivational morphemes un and re are added. So we have true becoming untrue and paint becoming repaint. Now notice that in both of these cases, the meaning of the word changes. Untrue means the opposite of true, and repaint means to paint, but specifically to do it again. In these examples, although the meaning changes, the type of word, the word class, stays the same. True and untrue are both adjectives, and paint and repaint are both verbs. The important thing is that derivation always changes the meaning. As well as changing meaning, derivation can also change the type of word, the word class. So we saw that in our first example, walk is a verb referring to an action. Walker is a noun referring to a kind of person. So you can see this in these examples. We have right becoming writer, slow and slowly, sleep, sleepy and sleepiness. In English, morphemes that change word class are usually suffixes, but there are some exceptions like n, the prefix, so we can say enrage or encircle. In other languages, morphemes that change word class are usually prefixes. For example, in Fijian, vaka means in the manner of. So it turns an adjective or a noun into an adverb. So totolo means fast, vaka totolo means quickly, marama means lady, vaka marama means in a ladylike way. Now, inflection creates a different form of the same word with the same basic meaning. It affects the way a word relates to other words in the grammar of the language. So while derivation adds meaning, inflection adds grammatical information. Inflection can't change the word class. For example, the suffix s on English verbs, as in he shows. The event is exactly the same as the event I show or you show. The action performed is exactly the same. The difference between show and shows is that with shows, the action has to be done by he, she or it. It must have a third-person singular subject, while show can't. So this suffix interacts with other grammatical features of the sentence. It makes the sentence work according to the grammatical rules, but it doesn't change the meaning of the word. Some other examples of inflectional morphemes are the ending ed, that adds grammatical information of tense, so he showed me the paper. The ending ing adds the grammatical information of aspect, so basically that the event is ongoing. He was showing me the paper. And the endings ed or en or n add grammatical information of aspect, so that the event is completed. He has shown me the paper. Show, shows, showed, showing and shown are not different words with different meanings, but they're different forms of the same word, the verb to show. Some examples of inflectional morphemes on other types of word classes in English are nouns, so we can have a cat but two cats, a book or books. We can also have inflection in verbs, so John reads books, ing, they are working, ed, they worked, and en, they have eaten. Also for adjectives, so we can add er, the smaller one, or est, the smallest one. Children learning English, as well as adult second language learners, have a strong tendency to make irregular forms regular, making amusing errors such as goed for went or foots for feet. These errors show that what's being learned is a rule, something like our brain thinking, just add ed to make the past tense, rather than having to learn past tense verbs one at a time. The errors that children make show that children don't just imitate their parents, they assume that language has regular morphological rules. All languages do have morphological rules, and we'll be looking at some more examples of different languages in the next tutorial.